And the second question I have for the leader and for the portfolio holder is, do you know what's the state of the opening balance of the balance sheet itself, the reserve? Because I have just looked up our website. It is still showing we've got 80 million pounds of revenue reserves. And here you're talking 30 million. Maybe you both the officer execs need to answer that one first, and then go on and answer the next one. Thank you.
Okay, Councillor Perry.
Yeah, on the first question, the 1.6 million is not what the loss that's been incurred up to that point. It's the estimate of the annual position. So, as I said, we're still looking at the end of the whole financial year to be 1.6, and hopefully less than that, because we're taking immediate action to try and mitigate the impact of the pandemic and what have you. So that's where that is. It's not an actual loss as up to Christmas. The reserves are, you've got a full list of all the reserves in the pack. It's just over 40 million at the moment. And to answer Councillor Galloway's question there, we're only plenty of the 40 million that we've got. 7 million has been allocated to soften the blow over the next 4 years. So that's 7 out of 40 million. We're not spending all our reserves at all. So, you know, we do have plenty of room for manoeuvre there if necessary. We obviously, in producing the estimates there for the next few years, we have built-in inflation, we have built-in increase of costs in all areas, and they're detailed on the schedule that you've got there. So, yes, we can't totally see what's going to come in the future, but that's our best estimate at the moment.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Perry. Can I just pick up on a point that Councillor Mylvaganam made? He's looked at our website and said that it's showing reserves of 18 million. We're 80 million, sorry. And we are giving a presentation where we're saying it's in the 40s. Okay. Does someone have an immediate answer as to what that might be, or is that something we want to take offline and review? Mr. Watson?
Yes. The information on the website is potentially old information going back there, because obviously you're aware we haven't had the 1920 accounts signed off by our local district auditor. Once they're done, we will update the website with the balance positions, but the estimate we are using in the medium-term financial strategy is the best estimate we've got, and will be updated when we do our outturn report to the executive in the early months of the next financial year.
Thank you, Mr. Watson. Councillor Mylvaganam, do you want to just respond?
Yes, absolutely. I mean, for 1.5 years, we have seen an 80 million figure. Here we are, you are presenting us with a 34 million revenue reserves, or 40 million, or whatever it may be at this stage. I'm very confused. I mean, it is absolutely ridiculous for you all to drop a figure without any proper explanation as to what's going on. Councillor McLaughlin, you're the leader of the council. I'm sure you should know more than anyone else as to why this huge discrepancies has arisen between these two numbers. I mean, one is a public document. Here you are submitting another public document. I think you should take some responsibility here.
Okay, thank you, Councillor Mylvaganam. I think what we've agreed to do is to look at the information that's on the website right now, and I'm happy to come back to you with where we believe there's a difference between what's showing there and what's showing now. Okay, I think it's being projected as somehow 40 million has disappeared, but as you and I both know, what it often is to do with is presentation. And when numbers are presented one way, they look like that, and presented another way, the same numbers are looking a different one. And you and I are both long enough in the tooth to know that that is much more likely than this council, having been audited and audited and audited and checked many, many times, and having 151 officers who are professionals, that there is something that the implication of you're making is valid. So we'll come back to you as we always do, if we can't answer immediately, we'll come back in writing within 7 days and we'll answer everyone. All members will hear the answer. Okay. Any other questions? Councillor Bates.
Thank you. Yeah, Councillor Mylvaganam's right, actually. I've literally just looked up myself. The document in question, I'm assuming the one he's talking about, are the draft financial statements ending the 31st of March 2020. And the figure he's referring to is on page 12, which says £80 million. So I'm assuming that's what he's actually referring to there. And if that is the case, it does seem a fair point he's making.
Okay, thank you. Okay, are there any other questions on the paper before the executive? Item 5.